You thought that if you just understood her enough, she would stay. That if you listened harder, cared deeper, learned her moods, memorized her silence, decoded her pain, somehow, that would be enough. But it wasn't. And that's the part nobody prepares you for. Because understanding feels like love. It feels like effort. It feels like you're doing everything right. So when she still walks away, it doesn't just confuse you, it breaks you. You remember the beginning, back when everything was simple. She laughed easily. She texted first. She leaned into you like you were home. And you didn't have to understand her back then. You just felt her. But somewhere along the way, things changed. The laughter became quieter. The texts became shorter. The distance became louder. And that's when you started trying harder. You started paying attention to everything. The way her tone shifted. The way her eyes avoided yours. The pauses in her replies. You became a student of her emotions. You thought, if I can just understand what she's feeling, I can fix this. So you asked more questions. You listened more carefully. You gave her space when she needed it, comfort when she asked for it, silence when she pulled away. You became patient. You became understanding. You became everything she once said she needed. And yet, she still left. That's the paradox no one talks about. Understanding her doesn't make her stay, because understanding isn't what keeps someone. It's not even what makes them love you. See, here's the truth most men learn too late. Understanding someone is a skill. Staying with someone is a choice. And those two things don't always go together. You can understand her childhood trauma. You can understand her fear of commitment. You can understand why she shuts down when things get serious. You can even understand why she pushes you away when she needs you the most, but none of that forces her to choose you. None of that makes her fight for you. None of that makes her stay. And that's where it starts to hurt, because you didn't just love her. You tried for her, you showed up for her, you understood her in ways most people never would. And somehow, that still wasn't enough. So you start asking yourself dangerous questions. What did I miss? What did I do wrong? Why wasn't I enough? But maybe you weren't the problem. Maybe the real problem is that you believed understanding equals value. That if you just became more patient, more aware, more emotionally intelligent, you would become irreplaceable. But that's not how attraction works. That's not how love works. And that's definitely not how people choose who they stay with. Because here's something hard to accept. People don't stay because you understand them. They stay because they want to stay. Desire is not logical. Attraction is not earned through analysis. And love isn't built on how well you can decode someone's emotions. Think about it. There are men out there who don't understand women at all. They don't analyze. They don't overthink. They don't try to fix everything. And yet, women stay with them. Why? Because those men aren't trying to win love through understanding. They're living in a way that makes staying feel natural. Meanwhile, you were trying to earn something that was never meant to be earned like that. You turned love into a problem to solve, a puzzle to figure out, a system to master. But she didn't want a therapist. She didn't want someone constantly analyzing her. She didn't want someone trying to fix her every emotion. She wanted to feel something. And feelings don't come from understanding alone. This is where most men get it wrong. They think, if I understand her pain, she'll feel safe. If she feels safe, she'll stay. But safety alone doesn't create attraction. Comfort alone doesn't create desire. And understanding alone doesn't create emotional pull. In fact, sometimes the more you try to understand her, the more you lose yourself. You start adjusting everything, your tone, your reactions, your needs. You stop saying what you really think because you don't want to trigger her. You stop expressing your boundaries because you're trying to be understanding. You start walking on emotional eggshells, and slowly, you disappear. And here's the irony. The more you lose yourself trying to understand her, the less she feels you, the less she respects you, the less she's drawn to you. Because attraction isn't built on how well you adapt to someone. It's built on who you are when you don't. She didn't fall for you because you understood her perfectly. She fell for you because you were you, unfiltered, grounded, alive. But somewhere along the way, you traded that for approval, for validation, for the hope that if you just became better for her, she wouldn't leave, and that's the trap. Because when you make someone the center of your emotional world, you give them the power to leave it. And no amount of understanding can stop someone who has already decided to go. That doesn't mean understanding is useless. It matters. It helps you communicate better. It helps you avoid unnecessary conflict. It helps you connect on a deeper level. But it's not the foundation. It's not the glue. And it's definitely not the reason someone stays. So what does make someone stay? It's a combination of things. Attraction, respect, emotional connection, timing, compatibility, and most importantly, choice. She has to choose you. Not because you understand her, not because you're patient, not because you're always there, but because she wants you. And that's something you can't control. You can influence it. You can create the conditions for it. You can be the kind of man who naturally attracts that choice, but you can't force it. You can't earn it through emotional labor. You can't secure it by understanding her better than anyone else. Because if she doesn't choose you, no amount of understanding will change that, and I know that's hard to hear. Because it means you can do everything right and then still lose her. But here's the flip side. It also means you don't have to lose yourself trying to keep someone who isn't choosing you. You don't have to overanalyze every message. You don't have to decode every silence. You don't have to become an expert in her emotions just to feel secure, because the right person won't require you to become someone else just to keep them. They won't make you feel like love is something you have to constantly earn. They won't make you feel like you're one mistake away from losing them. And most importantly, they won't leave just because you didn't understand them perfectly. So if you're sitting there wondering why she left even though you did everything you could to understand her, stop blaming yourself. You didn't fail. You just believed in the wrong equation. You believed understanding, staying. But the real equation is connection plus attraction plus choice, staying. And understanding? That's just one small piece. So the next time you feel yourself slipping into that pattern, trying to figure her out, trying to read between every line, trying to become exactly what she needs, pause and ask yourself, am I trying to understand her or am I trying to earn her? Because those are two very different things. One comes from strength, the other comes from fear. And love built on fear never lasts. So don't lose yourself trying to keep someone. Don't shrink your voice to make someone comfortable. Don't trade your identity for temporary connection. Because the moment you start doing that, you're not building a relationship. You're negotiating your worth. And no one stays for long when your worth is up for negotiation. So let her go if she chooses to leave. Not because you don't care, but because you finally understand something deeper than her emotions. You understand your own value. And that's the one thing that actually makes the right person stay.